You want the power all to yourself. You want to reach the crown of command, claim the talisman, and beat everybody. But how could you do that? Through strength, by just brutally killing everybody, or by casting spells? How about a more stealthy approach? Hello and welcome to the Friday Fantasy Show from the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter and today we're going to be taking a look at Talisman, but it's another character guide, yes. This time out we thought we'd look at the Assassin. Now we have done various other character guides, can't remember which ones, but we've probably done about half of them now, and that's only on the base game. So I thought we'd start off with the base game, and then if we get there, which we will, we're planning to then go into all the expansions as well. Now we do have a playlist on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out, all about Talisman. We've done all reviews of the base game and all the expansions, even the mini ones as well. So let's see what hints and tips we can find for the Assassin. The Assassin, yes, you want to stealth your way up to the crown of command. Now the Assassin, he starts in the city. His alignment is evil, as you could probably imagine. He has a strength 3 and a craft 3, and also life of 4, and he starts with 3 fate. Special abilities. Now he has 2 special abilities. Well, you'll find out. He actually has 1 special ability and 1 limitation on his special ability. But the special ability is pretty unique. The first one, it says here, it says, you may assassinate when you attack a character or creature. You cannot assassinate when you're attacked by another creature. When you assassinate, battle takes place as normal, except that your victim may not roll a dice and add it to his strength. If you win, you must force the loser to lose a life. You cannot take an object or gold instead. And the second special ability is you may not assassinate while at the crown of command. So, as I said, it's more of a restriction than an extra special ability. So the assassin's strength, as you've probably guessed, lies in sabotaging characters to kill them off, to keep them weak, and then obviously you can, if you do kill them off, and if they've collected objects and magical items, things like that, then you can take those items to help you power up, and also to assassinate as many creatures as you can, because some of them can be enemies that you can then collect as trophies, because when you get 7 points you can cash them in for a strength. So that is basically how you are supposed to play the Assassin. Obviously you can play it any way you like, but if you utilise the special ability, you'll find that you can power up pretty quickly. So let's look at this in slightly more detail. It says that you may assassinate when you attack another character or creature. You cannot assassinate when you are attacked by another character. When you assassinate, battle takes place as normal, except that the victim may not roll a die and add it to their strength. If you win, you must force the loser to lose a life. You cannot take an object or gold. So what that means is that you do have big advantages in battle, because combat, which uses the strength, is that another character or enemy will roll 1 die and they will add that to their strength value to get their attack score. Now you have a base strength value, and obviously the assassin, but the assassin starts with 3. Now along the way you might pick up objects that add to that strength. So obviously you might have a sword that is +1, so you would have a strength of 4. Then you would roll the die and you would add that die result, so it's 6-sided, so you might get a 6, and you would add that to your total strength, not just your value, your base starting value, if you see what I mean. So if you rolled a 6 and you were on 4, then obviously you'd have 10. Now, if you're assassinating that character or creature, they cannot roll that die, because what happens is they get to roll a die and add it to their strength value as well. Now you imagine that. So obviously if you're both equal, so say you were on strength 3 and they were on strength 3, you get to roll a die and you're going to win. Because obviously the way that you win is that whoever rolls higher will actually win in that situation. So for them not to be able to roll their die is a huge advantage. Now, let's look at the terminology here. It's when you attack them. So for characters, the way that you attack is you land on them, on their space. If they land on your space, they are attacking you if they choose to. You are not attacking them. So if they land on you, you cannot use the assassinate rule. If you land on them, then that's fine. You can actually assassinate a character. Now with a creature, I just want to get into the creature status, because it says here, you cannot assassinate let's do this bit again. A creature is defined as any encounter other than a character that attacks with strength or craft. This may include enemy cards and also event cards, and also strangers, places, spells, and board spaces. Now, an enemy card normally has on it enemy and then what type of enemy it is. So it could be animal, it could be dragon. There are various different enemy cards, but also, and that's defined as a creature. But also, there are creatures that are actually on the board as well. And because the rule says that you can attack a creature if they are attacking you, because it only mentions about you cannot attack a character if they attack you, then any creatures that you land on and you fight, you can actually use your special ability of assassinate. Now, I've looked on some forums, and that's a little bit controversial. Some people play it that it's only when you draw a card from the adventure deck that's face up, and then that they are actually attacking you, and you can't use your assassination special ability. Some people say you can't use it because they're attacking you, because you've just picked it up from the adventure pack, from the adventure deck. Whereas if you land on it, it's already face up on the space. So say someone else pulled it or you pulled it and you didn't beat it, it gets to stay there. If you then land on it again, or you land on it for the first time, because you're landing on it, you are attacking that creature, then you get to assassinate. But it doesn't actually say that. It actually says that you cannot assassinate when you are attacked by another character. It doesn't specify creatures. So we play it that you can do that. Now some people think that, that's going to be a bit overpowered. Well, to balance it out, you do only have that special ability. Some characters start with, 3 or 4 special abilities. Some start with spells. So I would say that you definitely need to take full advantage of this. Land on as many characters as possible to keep them weak, because if you're knocking their lives out, and they get down to 2 lives and they haven't healed, all it takes is for an event to happen and they lose a life, or they get attacked, or they can lose lives pretty quickly in Talisman. Obviously if you're watching this, you've played Talisman quite a few times, you will know that it can be quite brutal. So you want to keep especially in the early days, you want to keep your other players weak, and then you can take advantage, because if they're not powering up and you are, when they have to start again with a new character, they're starting with all the base values, they haven't got any objects, and so you should be quite far ahead of powering up than they are. Plus, what I would recommend is, yes, pick as many venture cards as possible, because you do want to get those creatures, because you do actually want to be collecting them for trophies to then cash in to then power up and get an extra point. Yeah. The other thing is that on the board, again, because creatures are defined as any creatures that are spaces on the board, then yes, you can use that ability as well. And it also says, though, let's look at the second one, you may not assassinate while on the crown of command. Now, there could be a situation where, yes, another player comes up and joins you on the crown of command, or that there's already someone there and then you get there and they haven't won the game yet. Now, it does say you cannot use your ability there, so that's pretty clear, because that's the centre space, and therefore, when you get into combat, so you do have to fight that other character, you will actually have to just fight them in a regular way, so they'll be able to use their dice roll as well. So as I say, it could be seen as a bit overpowered, but because there's only one special ability, we tend to find that it kind of equals out. The downside to the assassin, as I say, they don't start with any spells, even though your craft is 3, so you can have a spell, but you don't start with it. And as I say, there's only one real special ability compared to others that have 3 or 4. Favourable places for evil characters on the board. Go to the graveyard. Go to the graveyard because you can replenish your fate for free. You can replenish it all up to the full value. Or you can pray. So you can roll 1 die, which is 1 to 4 is ignored, 5 is gain a fate, 6 is gain a spell. So if you are after spells, you can go to the graveyard. Go to the crags, you can roll 1 die. If you roll a 6, you can a barbarian leads you out and you gain 1 strength. So that's always good to keep going back there to try and roll a 6. Go to the forest, because then you can, if you do roll a 6, a ranger guides you out, you can gain a craft. Now obviously you do want to keep building up your crafts, it's not all about strength, but because of your assassination special ability, you're probably more likely going to be powering up on your strength. Places to avoid: in the outer region, the chapel, because if you're evil, you lose a life. No comebacks, you just lose life, so never go there. Middle region is the chasm, and that is all about rolling 1 die for yourself and 1 die for each of your followers. So if you've picked up followers, you kind of want to avoid this one, because if a 1 or 2 is rolled when you roll it for yourself, you lose a life, and if a 1 or 2 is rolled when you're rolling for the followers, they get killed and you lose them. And followers can be very, very handy. The best route to go in the inner region, well, this is a tricky one since you do start with craft 3 and strength 3, but because of your assassination ability, I would probably say that your strength will be powered up more than your craft. So the best way therefore is to go the crypt route, where you roll 3 dice and you subtract your strength from the total and you move directly to whatever that is. So hopefully you're aiming for 0, so you want to get your strength and ideally your craft at minimum of 10 to give you a good chance of actually surviving that roll die. There is also dice with death. That is the next space along, and you roll 2 dice for yourself and 2 dice for death. If the scores are equal, you dice with death again on your next turn. If your score is lower, you lose 1 life and death, and you do that again on your next go. If your score is higher, you then may proceed to the next one. So that's nothing to do with strength, that's just to do with luck. Werewolf Den. Fight the werewolf. Yes, you roll 2 dice for the werewolf's strength, then fight it. If you lose 1 life and fight the same werewolf again on your next turn. You cannot move until you've defeated the werewolf. So that is the best way. Just a little recap there. Land on other characters as much as you can to use your assassinate ability to keep them weak and possibly kill them off, so that you can then collect all their followers and their objects and their gold. And also they'll have to start for a new character that have got lower starting values than presumably you're on, because you might have been playing the game for 20 minutes or so. And the other thing is draw as many adventure cards as you can, because you can then attack those creatures to collect them as trophies. And the other one is to visit the graveyard to replenish your fate, because fate can come in really handy, because fate, obviously, as you know, if you played the game, that means you can re-roll a die roll to, so if you roll a 2 and you wanted a 6, you can re-roll it just to see if you get that. Go to crags to gain strength, and go to the forest to gain craft. And if you're going into the inner region, go the crypt route, because that favours strength more often, because that will probably be higher than your craft. There we are, that's hints and tips for the assassin. It's all about the assassination, yes. The assassin from Talisman. As I say, we've done all reviews for the base game and all the expansions as well for the 4th revised edition. Thank you so much for watching. You can check out the playlist and you can watch the other character guides. And as I say, we're going to be aiming to get all of the characters done. So hopefully you can learn some hints and tips and claim the crown of command for yourself. Until next time, remember to keep it unreal, especially if you like assassinating people. It's a bit dark, that one.